Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Mashayah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshua, Yahuwah, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one in existence than Yahuwah. And Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Dawood coming to you again to bring you Pope Gregory's calendar. This is part 2. The Matrix. Cypher. Is this you? I've given you the ability in part 1 to free yourself from the bondage of Pope Gregory's calendar. Are you like Cypher? He did not like what was happening in reality. He said to himself, I would rather live in a delusion, in an illusion, than to face reality. So he sold out all of his brothers and sisters to go back into the Matrix, to live in a lie. Again, I want to ask you a question. Is this you? If you return to Pope Gregory's calendar after part 1, then you are Cypher. Wikipedia. We're going to define the equinox. It is a Latin term. They say it means equal day and equal night. What if I were to tell you that it doesn't? Let's read. The equinoxes are the only times when the solar terminator, the edge between night and day, is perpendicular to the equator. As a result, the northern and southern hemispheres are equally illuminated. How many of you have reading comprehension? Did they say any place here that the equinox means equal day and equal night? Look in parentheses. What does it say? The edge between night and day is perpendicular to the equator. Look what's in red. As a result, the northern and southern hemispheres are equally illuminated. So the equinox means that the North Pole and the South Pole are equally illuminated. It does not mean equal day and equal night. How does this occur? Sunrise, when the beginning of the year comes, it's on the 18th. They have to wait 2 days for the sun to come down to the equator, and then they say that is the equinox. For the same reason, this is also the time when the sun rises for an observer at one of Earth's rotational poles and sets at the other. An observer? We are observers. At least some of us. Who was the head observer? Hanuk. He was taken up into the sky in the spacecraft to observe the luminaries. Look what it's called. Is it called an equinox? It's called sunrise. Equinox is something totally different. Do you understand? For a brief period lasting approximately 4 days, both north and south poles are in daylight. For example, in 2021, sunrise on the North Pole is the 18th of March. Let that sink in. We were able to find this day by simple deduction. We just took away 2 days that they added. Why did they add the 2 days? They had to wait 2 days for the sun to come from the north and hit the equator before they concluded that it is the equinox, which means the North Pole and the South Pole is equally illuminated. And sunset on the South Pole is the 22nd of March. 22nd of March. How many days is between that? 4. So they come in between those 4 days. Also in 2021, sunrise, you see the term that he's using? Sunrise. On the South Pole is the 20th of September. That's your second sunrise. What they would say is an equinox, but the term is sunrise. It's the 20th of September? Why is it not the 18th, Brother Dawood? Well, remember they add the 2 days, but on this statement, they're pretty much accurate. How many intercalary days were added in the 6 months before the event happened in September? 2. So it actually is the 20th in the autumn months. And sunset on the North Pole is the 24th of September. In other words, the equinoxes, 2, are the only times when the sub-solar point is on the equator. So that's different from sunrise. We're speaking of 2 different events. We've been thinking of equinox, but the term is sunrise, meaning that the sun is exactly overhead at a point on the equatorial line. You have to wait 2 days for that. The subsolar point crosses the equator, moving northwards at the March equinox and southward at the September equinox. Henuk 75, 5. The chariot on which he ascends, who is he? A Yares, the sun. The wind drives. He has a wind-driven engine. And the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the face of the heaven. World map of Northern Hemisphere. Henuk just told us how the beginning of the year occurs. Okay, look at the map. Look at the Northern Hemisphere. Most of your landmass is there. Most of the population is there. Okay, look at the top. It says Arctic. You see 180. Hanuk says that the sun comes down from the heavens. It comes through the north. That is the north. You see 180. Then it comes down to the east. So it says 180, 80 degrees, 60 degrees, 40 degrees, 20 degrees. Got it? If you see 20 degrees, you see two lines there. Let's follow those two lines. It comes through China, India, the Promised Land, North Africa, comes over to the United States. Look, Florida is on that line, Mexico. Then it goes around the earth, comes back again. This time, it won't be on those two lines. It's going to be between the 20 degrees and the 0 degrees. That's the next day. So it comes around again, in between the 20 degrees and the 0 degrees. And the 0 degrees is the equator. It comes around, traverses across the sky, goes around the earth, comes back again, and this time, on the second day, it comes to 0 degrees. Then it is directly over the equator, and the earth is equally illuminated in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Is this what Hanuk was speaking about when he said sunrise? Hanuk, the guide to the righteous. 75:19. Hanuk is going to take us out of matrix thinking. 19. And the sun goes forth from the fifth portal and sets in the fifth portal of the west. It rises in the east, it sets in the west, and rises in the fourth portal for 1:30 mornings on account of its sign, and sets in the west. Its sign? What does that mean? Well, he said 1:30 mornings, which means 31 days, which means the sign is an intercalary day. The intercalary day is in 4 places. It's in the 3rd month, the 6th month, the 9th month, and the 12th month. 20. On that day, what day? The sign that we're speaking of here would be on the 6th month or on the 12th month. The day is equalized with the night. And the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. Oh. So what makes the day and the night equal? Is it waiting 2 days for it to hit the equator so that both poles can be illuminated? Which has nothing to do with equal day and equal night. That is equal light on one side of the earth. Are you understanding what I'm saying? The only thing that makes it equal day and equal night which the night amounts to 9 parts and the day to 9 parts, is the intercalary day. They ran a game on us. Can you see it? We've been spewing out of our mouth. The equinox, the equinox, the equinox. The equinox doesn't even apply. It's only sunrise for us. When you're in the Matrix, you will think like the Matrix. Your thought process is skewered because all of your information came from the Matrix. But the information that I am giving you today comes from the Creator. He had the Alayam to pick up Hanuk, take him up into a spacecraft to show him the luminaries, to teach him how they work, so that he can teach us, who would come up in the last days, who would be found in the Matrix. Only knowledge can free you. And then once you have obtained this knowledge, will you be like Cypher and decide to go back into the Matrix so that you can eat steak that you know that does not even exist? Autumnal equinox, September 2024. They have 2 equinoxes on Pope Gregory's calendar. We're looking at the autumn equinox. Brother Daoud, why are you starting your count from the autumn? Well, when you read Hanuk chapter 75, when he starts his explanation, he starts you from sunrise. And then he takes you into the first intercalary day in the 3rd month. Then he takes you into the second intercalary day for the 6th month. And on the 6th month, there's a sign. Okay. Look at Pope Gregory's calendar on the bottom there. Pope Gregory fixed the equinox in autumn to the 23rd. He added 2 more days here because there's 2 intercalary days that comes before it in reality, but not on his calendar. All right. So he bypassed 3 days, correct? From the beginning of the year. Sunrise started on the 18th. Then we had the 19th and the 20th, and he fixed his day to the 21st. So now we have to subtract those 3 days. Where do you come to? The 20th. Brother Dawood, I see you have the 18th encircled. Yes, the 18th, we're going into reality here. So I can give you an explanation. At the beginning of the year, it would be the 18th for sunrise. During the course of the 6 months, 2 intercalary days are added. One of them has a special sign, which makes the day equal to the night. So if you add those 2 intercalary days, what day do you come to in the autumn? The 20th. That is perfection. Now let's see what Hanuk has to say about the 1st month. Hanuk 75:31. And on that day, the sun rises. See, it's not called an equinox. It's sunrise for those who are outside of the matrix. from that portal and sets in the west. It rises in the east and sets in the west, and returns to the east and rises in the third portal for 1 in 30 mornings. 1 in 30 mornings. It's 31 days. And sets in the west of the heaven. What is he telling us here again? 31 days equals an intercalary day that's added. Does it not? Of course it does. So once he adds the intercalary day, verse 32, on that day, what day? The intercalary day, the 31st day? The night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days, 364. Look at that. Hanuk is telling you right here. You don't have to wait for the sun to dip to the equator. As soon as the sun comes down from the heavens, from the north, it comes to the east, and then traverses across the sky, that is your new year. Let me show you it on the calendar. Here's the vernal equinox, March 2024. Look on the calendar here. Look at Pope Gregory's day, the 21st. Look at our day, Hanuk's day, the day that we have deducted from before we even knew that an observer's equinox is on the 18th. Before we even knew that, we took away 2 days and we came to the 18th by simple deduction, because the Father has given us the ability to think on our own, outside of the matrix. Now look at the intercalary day. The 17th, that would be the 31st day of the 12th month of the prior year, and on that day, the day is equal to the night. One side of the earth will be 9 parts, and the other side of the earth would be 9 parts. Not waiting for the sun to come to the equator and equally illuminate the north and the south. We've been duped, lied to, treated like a bunch of idiots, because truly we were. We were ignorant. We ignored everything that happened in the sky. We just started looking up. We just started to pay attention to time, because we were searching for our Father's feast days in the daytime with a flashlight. And look, he said, if you seek me, you will find me, if you search for me with all your heart. The rest of them didn't search for him at all. No heart was a part of it. Husha. That's Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Is that true? That's why you're in the matrix. It's all dealing with the mind. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the only thing that can take you out of the matrix. Because you have rejected knowledge. Oh my goodness. Because you want to stay in the matrix, like Cypher, I will also reject you. You shall be no priest for me. You will not speak on my behalf. Because you have forgotten the law of the Alayak. If you speak on my behalf with your twisted matrix thinking, you're going to lead my people astray. And if you do that, I will also forget your children. Be careful. Continue to part 3. Shalom.